Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about back to the office. Let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, do you think that tech companies will follow Amazon's footsteps and announce 5 days in the office mandate? I'm pretty sure that some of them will, but at the same time they're going to have to adapt to that. Not all companies will want to do this, like partners and things like that. So in practicality, what usually happens, what I see at the very least, is depending on the size of the company now, of course, in the very small organizations, it's easier to do this. In the larger organization, it's much more difficult because it really comes down to trickle down problems. So if you take a high level decision in a really large organization, like say Amazon, you might have that standpoint as a policy within the organization, but that doesn't necessarily mean that in practice that is what is happening. Now, the reason for that is because it comes down to what the line manager is doing. Is the line manager checking your times? Like, are you checking in? Are you doing all this stuff? Because if you want to make damn sure that everybody is there 5 days a week, you're basically forced to go back to the old days when you had a time card where you like punched in and punched out, and tracking people in that way creates a, well, let's just say a little bit of a barrier for some of the people that you might want to work for you, because having a flex time system or these sorts of things is a perk to a lot of people. It is something that a lot of, especially the software developers, find to be very attractive, and not just software developers. A lot of people find working from home as needed a very convenient thing, and so the struggle will be to enforce it, basically, because as I said, it doesn't matter if you say that you're going to have a 5 day mandate unless you're enforcing it. And so I've been in a few companies now where they've had this, where they go, oh, 2 days, 3 days. In practice, it doesn't matter. Like that they declare this because the company will need to in order to be 100% sure that this is being followed. Because like the cat's out of the bag now. Like the pandemic and everything that happened proved very definitively that companies are okay with people working from home. That's not a fireable offense, or like it was a necessity at the time, but now they have work processes in place for the most part where this is sort of expected. I still haven't, even after the pandemic, I haven't been to a single meeting or anything like that that was not both online and in person. So like the whole platform is already there, and I mean I can only imagine how much Microsoft made on Teams and all these or Zoom made with like calls and stuff like that. Like that platform, those platforms must have exploded during the pandemic for exactly this reason, and I don't think that that's going to go away anytime soon. As I said, it does not really matter if other companies follow along unless they're willing to enforce it, and that very much comes down to the company and its culture, and the higher leadership, and how much do they believe that they can push people, and how much are they willing to push for this thing. Because when say Elon Musk goes out and says that, yeah, either you come into office or you find yourself another job, that is his standpoint. And absolutely, if he really really pushes that and makes sure that he has checks and balances and like that, all that stuff happens, and he's willing to forego the people who don't want to work in those conditions, then yeah, then he's going to be able to do it. But the fact that he does it, or like that Amazon does it, doesn't necessarily mean that other companies will follow along as readily or follow through. As I said, you can say that you're going to do the same thing, but if you're not following through, then it doesn't really matter. I have been to quite a lot of companies where they say that, oh, we require this amount of time in the office and this amount outside, and I go, okay, how are you validating it? Oh, we trust our employees. And I go, okay, so it basically doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it comes down to, is your manager going to check that you're in the office? And do they want to spend their time policing people around to making sure that they're in the office? And I've said that, even in my current role, I said that to my manager immediately, that if you're ever going to pitch something like that, I will counter with saying that if you have a problem with my performance, if I'm not performing at the level that is, well, ideally above expectations, that's a conversation I will have with you. And if there are meetings or any practical reasons as to why I need to be in the office, absolutely, I will hear you out. But if you're going to force me to go into the office just because you have a rule saying that should happen, then I can tell you that that's not going to happen. And this is the same manager who says, yeah, I understand that point of view is probably like it's freedom under responsibility. As you said, yeah, that's fine, even though like there are certain rules for certain things and so forth. And I argue any organization who has a rule that they enforce for no other reason than that it should be done that way because of reasons, well, you can do it. That's okay. But to me, like, I don't really see the point into it. These like the mandates and so forth should be there. I really hate this idea that you don't treat people with special preferences and stuff like that, because that's what you should be doing in these sorts of situations. If you have low performers, or you have people who can't actually work effectively with with this responsibility or like this freedom, like they can't handle that freedom, then you should pull it from them. There's no point in applying it to an entire organization. It should be applied to, as I said, as a benefit, a perk. It's the same thing with flex time. Even if you come in 1 hour early or late, or like you do those sorts of things, it's the same deal. If you have someone who is never fucking showing up to work, well, are you gonna remove flex time for everybody as well? Maybe just focus on solving the issue for the people who can't handle the perk that you're trying to give to like the people who actually can handle it. So what I want you to take away from this is that I'm pretty sure that there's a bunch of people who are going to go, 5-day work week and so forth and so forth. And a lot of companies have like like certain amount of hours or some amount of days, office first. Like there's tons of these sort of things going on. But I don't think that it's ever going to get back to the point where it was like established that was the norm, because now, as I said, it's sort of too late to say that, yeah, no, we have seen issues with remote work and so forth, it doesn't work, or so forth and so forth, because it's been proven that it does work. And that was even before the pandemic, that there were companies who did remote first and like things like that. So the infrastructure is there. It's really just a question of office politics at this point. And as I said, even if you work at a company like that, guys, it really doesn't matter what policy they have at the high level. What matters is what happens with your line manager. Is your line manager checking in yes or no? If they're not, then it doesn't matter. Not whatsoever. Same deal for quite a lot of professions where there's quite a lot of rules, but sadly enough, in some organizations, a few of the ones that I've been included in, some processes actually are declared to work in a certain way, but that system doesn't work. So people have simply found another way that is unofficial to actually get it to work. You want to see that in action? Try to fix like dependencies and get approvals and stuff like that in a really large organization. There's 100 million different support staff everywhere who's going to say like, oh, there's a form here, there's a schedule there, and you need to book a meeting and so forth and so forth. You can do all that, or you can just go to that one senior dude who has the access to the system and ask him to do it in 5 minutes. Have a great day.